Senator Rand Paul is praising DHS Secretary Kristi Noem for ending a TSA surveillance program called Quiet Skies.
So the Boston Globe had uncovered the program in 2018, but Noem says it existed since 2010. In a nutshell, if someone was placed in the Quiet Skies program, then an undercover U.S. air marshal would travel and surveil the person on the flight.
Senator Paul took to X and wrote, "Quiet Skies was an unconstitutional dystopian nightmare masquerading as a security tool, costing the American taxpayers $200 million a year. According to DHS, the program failed to stop a single terrorist attack since it was created." Now, per the Wall Street Journal, a TSA official who took responsibility for placing now Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard on the program has been placed on administrative leave. Gabbard believes she was placed on the program for criticizing former Vice President Kamala Harris. DHS has accused the Biden administration of weaponizing the program against their political opponents.
Interestingly enough, however, Democrat Senator Jenny Shaheen's husband also was on the list for allegedly traveling with a known suspected terrorist multiple times. But DHS says that the Biden administration used its influence to get Shaheen's husband off the list. A spokesperson for Shaheen says that she didn't know her husband was on the list until this month. The top Democrat of the House Homeland Security panel, Benny Thompson, hit back at Noem's weaponization accusations. In a statement, he said, quote, "If she is searching for an example of the political weaponization of the department, all she needs is a mirror. Since her first day on the job, she's been singularly obsessed with politics instead of DHS's mission of keeping the country secure." I mean, on the surface, this sounds like a win for civil liberties, right? It sounds like we don't want secret algorithms that flag people on Democrat or Republican side. We don't want it being used for, any civil liberties abuse. But we also shouldn't pretend this is all about freedom. Like, this was put in place under Obama with the intention of trying to protect people even more after 9/11. Obviously, if things aren't working, we should scrap them. But I know that it was expanded under Trump's first term. He didn't have a problem with it. And then it also was ran under Biden's term. And so now he can pin it to Biden and skip over himself and pin it to Obama and say, oh, because you guys looked at Tulsi Gabbard, now it's this political thing, and now we have to criticize the entire formula that was put in place with the intention to protect us that Trump supported during his first term. It's just confusing to me, and it looks like, once again, another finger-pointing moment to say, oh, Biden did this wrong, let's get it out of here. So it feels very politically motivated. It's not just about freedom and not surveilling.
Fair enough. I would not pin this one solely on Democrats, and the Republicans are absolutely just as complicit in growing the security state as a result of 9/11. No one more so than George W. Bush himself, under whose presidency the Patriot Act and so much of the domestic surveillance apparatus was put into law. So yeah, I agree with you that we shouldn't just say, oh, bad Biden, bad Obama. No. Republicans voted for these things and supported them all along.
Right.
So this is a bipartisan problem, domestic surveillance, placing people on lists for extra airport surveillance for a U.S. Marshal to follow them around. The fact that Shaheen and Gabbard, or Shaheen's husband and Gabbard, were on this list shows you how silly it is that when you have high-level members of the government have to be surveilled as well. But now they shouldn't have special rules that are different from normal people. No one needs to be part of some secret surveillance list they're not even aware of at the airport. Airport security, longtime viewers of the show know that there's no subject that drives me into a more and more of a rage than airport security. Virtually everything we do to get on a plane in the name of greater safety and security is nonsense, is totally useless, doesn't do anything, doesn't make us safer. Taking off your shoes doesn't make you any safer. Putting your laptop in a separate bin doesn't make you any safer. It just makes it more costly to fly, takes it a longer time at the airport, it's more inefficient. People choose to drive instead of flying, and more people die in car crashes as a result because car travel is about a gazillion times less safe than flying in an airplane. No, there's not going to be any hijacking of airplanes anymore. There was hijackings of airplanes because no one had thought to hijack an airplane and drive it into a building before. That had never happened. So now it's happened. We won't let it take place again. We lock the cockpit doors. No one can get in. That single innovation, locking the cockpit doors, that was a great idea. That has solved the airport, the plane security problem. We don't need the rest of it.
We're going to disagree. I actually feel comfortable having all that security. You could take your time. And
But
now
it's-
I've missed flights before, everything. I had a baby and they checked
But
my
it's an
formula.
illusion.
But I don't.
They checked
give
your
me-
formula?
Yes, give me
What, they
the give me the illusion. Because give me the illusion. I want to be protected. I want to feel
are
like
protected.
I want my laptop to go through the machine. I want all of it, please. Because
Oh my God,
I lived in
no,
New York.
Lindsey,
I know I lived
no.
in New York when 9/11 happened, and if it's got to be an illusion to make me feel that like that will never happen again. But
it
an
is an
illusion,
illusion.
it up.
It is
I don't
an
care. I
illusion.
disagree with you. I see them checking and winding people down. Sure, make sure that there's no rifles. People. Make sure there's no knives in your pocket. Please check everything. Pat down. If they need to, I'm like, go ahead, check this formula. I'm fine. I think that we want to make sure that we're not overly surveilling people so that we don't have a lack of oversight and a lack of trust.
Oh, this is the
But
farthest
I
apart we've ever
actually
been on
would
any issue
appreciate,
so
no,
far.
because my mom grew up as a flight working for TWA, for the airlines. She's getting on a plane all the time, often. I travel often. I want to make sure that I'm safe, and if it happens to be in my head for part of it, give me 30% in my head.
When
70%
I
actual
watch
security.
them
I'm good with that.
the 90-year-old lady's coming through on a wheelchair, drag her out of the chair, feel her up.
They're not dragging her out of the chair. They're not dragging her out of the chair.
So furious. It makes me. I don't like being touched by those people.
So you
either,
rather risk
by those
not being protected?
predators.
What basis do you
we
have?
are protected.
What basis do
We
you
are
have that
perfectly
TSA
protected.
is completely useless? What basis are you going off of? Your opinion, your thoughts, or actual? Is there facts and
First of all,
research
they
that says-
failed to stop. They do tests of this to see if they capture all the contraband. They routinely fail to apprehend weapons as they come through. But it doesn't matter because you can't use any of these weapons to take over a plane when you're on a plane. And if you really wanted to, you can still construct. Not that this is advice I'm giving.
No, please.
But it's perfectly possible to construct an incendiary device after you're in the airport once you've already gone through security. They sell lighters. They sell alcohol. You can make a little Molotov cocktail type thing. You wouldn't be able to use it to take over the plane because no one's going to ever let you do that again. We used to have hijackings throughout the 70s of planes. Do you know what would happen when a plane got hijacked? Everyone would just twiddle their thumbs because in every case, it was just crazy leftist people who were taking the plane to Cuba. They would get off the plane, the Cubans would take them to prison and torture them, and the plane would go back. There was no reason to stop the hijacking. Then 9/11 ruined it, and they crashed the plane into a building. Okay, we'll never let that happen again. We don't have this kind of security on buses or trains or the metro or any of the things.
And every day on your local news, you're getting a story about buses or trains and violence.
Getting
on the
blown
metro.
up by terrorists?
No,
I don't
but just
think
still
so.
Violence. Come on, don't pretend like every night you don't turn.
This
on
is
the
not
TV
about
or
this
New
is
York
not
News
about
and
stopping
see-
violence on planes.
Well, violence doesn't happen often on planes either. Why? Because we have TSA, and I'm grateful for that.
No, that's
we don't just
not-
get people
that's
stabbed
not
up on the
why.
plane like we see people get stabbed on a bus at a bus station or at a railway. Watch your local news, and you'll see that once a week in certain cities. And so I'm happy that TSA is there, and there's TSA in front of the bus station that might actually protect people. Now,
Oh, God.
I don't
It
want a
doesn't protect you.
surveillance state
But it's
around
not
every
about-
part.
it's not law
neighborhood,
enforcement.
but I don't mind it at the airport.
It's not law enforcement. It's about anti-terrorism. It does not do a single thing to stop terrorism because we solved the plane hijacking problem. It's a unique problem that required exactly one solution: locking the freaking cockpit doors.
So we should have no security. Everybody just walk through and how you
I
came
would
like on a
leave it
bus.
to the airline should be free to adopt whatever security provisions
Each
they think
airline,
is-
so we have like a Spirit level and then like a Delta level.
Yeah,
Like,
that's great. I'll fly on the one
wild.
with no security because it's fine.
Okay.
That way we can let customers decide what kind of plane experience you want. If you want to go through a 2-hour rigmarole,
because then
where you
you'll
got to
get
show
into
up
levels
and have
of-
your baby formula inspected by
I didn't
the
mind.
least intelligent members
Inspect
of
my
our
baby
society,
formula anytime.
then you can fly that way. I'll do the one that lets me bring on a hairspray of this size rather than this size because there's no difference. None. I can't follow stupid rules. I can't do it. And the fact that, you need the size of shampoo this size instead of this, it's stupid. Someone made it up and we're all just doing it because we're sheeple.
Well, I didn't know you felt that strongly about it, especially because I'm commuting from Denver to DC right now. I really don't mind.
I feel the injustice on your behalf and I am outraged.
I think we have to do a poll in the comments, see how people are feeling about this, because I didn't know I definitely don't want people getting surveilled, to circle back the whole story, but I also feel like, a little bit airport security makes people feel good and want to travel. And even if it's optics, that's what causes a lot of order in countries. Optics, right? We have people in positions that are leaders and calling for ideas, and really just big picture. Big picture is having security in an airport to make us feel good.
One time I left this was at Dulles, I was in a hurry, I left my laptop in airport security as I was going through it, and I had to go back for it, and I missed my flight for this reason. And I said, if I just get the laptop back right now, I said a little prayer, I will shut up and never complain about the TSA ever again. Didn't get it back then. Didn't get it back then. Nope, they took it to a secure third location because the police, I found out, don't trust the TSA not to just steal your stuff. So the police actually locked it up somewhere else so that the TSA wouldn't just steal it and be enjoying my laptop at home. So thank you, police. Not so much thank you to the TSA.
All right, well, shots fired as Simone Biles and Riley Gaines go at it after trans athletes. That feud up next.